Welcome to Kitchen Table Life with Nancy and Charity, a podcast where friends gather to spill the coffee. We talk practical truth about life's challenges, loving well, and leading strong.
Come on, friends, and gather round.
Have you ever had a day where you've just had enough? Maybe you're ready to pull your hair out. You're asking yourself, where did I go wrong? Sometimes you end the day going, did I just miss it, God? Well, that's what we're talking about today on Kitchen Table Life. So, Charity, have you ever had one of those days where you just are like, you get to the end of the day? You know what? Sometimes it's not the end of the day. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes it's 10 a.m. and you're like, all right, that's it. I've had enough. Here's the white flag of surrender. Man, I'm done.
I remember when I was working in the corporate world, I guess you could call it, you have those quick moments where you go to the copy machine just so you can get out of your office for just a minute. You know, like I just need to step away. I'm just going to go make a copy of something and I'll be right back.
For me, it was the coffee pot today. I'm not even going to lie. Like we did not plan this. This was a podcast we put together a while ago, but literally today I went to the coffee pot for a break, and we've got one of those little Keurig things.
Mhm.
I hit the button and I literally just put my head down on the counter and prayed. I was like, Jesus, right now. I need you to put some Jesus juice in my coffee because I need an extra measure of grace and patience in this moment.
I'm pretty sure we've all been there. You know, like this is not something that other people have not experienced.
Yeah, but sometimes you feel alone though, right? I mean, you're in the middle of it. Sometimes it's something that's beyond your control, or like I remember this one time I had spent months, hear me, months, 4 months working on a presentation to get an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a series of meetings and it was developing and strategizing. And I had done all the right things. I mean, my presentation I'm not one to compliment myself a lot, because there's a little bit of baggage there, but God's working with me on it. Okay. But I got done with that thing and I was like, girl, you did good. you so for me to compliment myself, that's a pretty big compliment, I guess. And I had friends review this presentation. I had coworkers review this presentation for a personal project I was working. I mean, just I had done all the right things, all the right research. I mean, I feel like you could hear in my voice how invested I was.
Oh yeah.
And even people who knew me, even people who didn't know me well, they were like, man, that's perfect. It's yours. You've nailed it. I went, I swung at the pitch, and I got the call that, you know what? Sorry, we decided to go with someone else's presentation. We liked their plan better. And so thanks so much. If we'd have picked two, we'd have also taken you to do it.
Aww.
And I was like, God, did I miss it? And it was a combination because it was a little sad, it was a little bit, God, did I miss it? And then it was also like, okay, I've had enough. I've spent months putting effort into this.
Right.
Everything looked like it was going to swing my way. It looked like the door was opening. I was so sure, and that wasn't it.
I feel like that happens a lot in life. Like we all make plans, you know. Reminds me of my famous quote, the best laid plans of mice and men often turn awry. And
Right.
and I feel I can kind of relate in the whole planning something for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great. Like we just had a family vacation. We've literally been planning this for a year, a whole year. Probably a little longer actually, because before we left Maine, we planned it so that we could make the plans while we were there in order to meet with the people in Maine after we've moved. So after a whole year of planning, the whole year, we had a great plan. We were going to meet halfway in the country. We were going to leave our home here in the Midwest and meet in Pennsylvania. And my parents and Jake's parents were going to come down from Maine and meet us in Pennsylvania. And we went to Pennsylvania. And we always try to go to church. This side note, we always try to go to church when we're on vacation because, Sunday still happens when you're on vacation. So
It sure does.
yeah, so we always try to be like, okay, where are we going to go to church? And it just happened to work out that one of my husband's friends is an evangelist and was going to be semi close to where we were staying. So we went, great service, had lunch, great time. But what was so funny at the church, people were like, oh, where are you from? Are you new to the area? I'm like, no, we're visiting. We're here on vacation. And they're all like, you came here for a vacation? We're like, yeah. They're like, really? Here? For vacation? What are you gonna do? Like, these are the people that live in the area.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, okay, that's a great sign. Of course, this is, we arrived on a Saturday and this was Sunday. So that was full day one of being on vacation, was being questioned, why on earth did you come here?
Really makes you feel confident about your vacation choices.
So we went and we continued to, the parents all got in and that was nice seeing them. And we had our plans. We went to this place, we went to that place. We did some historical stuff, which is always fun. We went to Gettysburg. I've always wanted to go there. Um, and but it wasn't so busy, but it was so planned. And
Mhm.
I'm still planning meals because we're trying to be frugal, and because you can't eat out all the time. And I'm trying to plan what we're gonna do. How do we get there? Where do we get tickets? Is plan, plan, plan. And then I didn't plan the whole thing because although I am bossy, everyone knows. Uh, I don't want to plan,
I'm going to testify right now.
right? Like I don't want to boss everyone around and make all the plans. It's not my place. So it's like, well, I'm not going to make all the plans. And it was just stressful. And honestly, I told Jake, I said, I'm so sorry because I feel like I have vinegar flowing through my veins on this vacation. No matter what I do, I just feel irritated. And I am sorry about that because I want to be nice. I really, really do. And I believe I may even have texted. Well, I think I did. I text you, Nancy? And I was like, my husband can only drive when I'm asleep or something. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it was awful. I got home, I started singing. I was so happy to be home. It was great.
Well, when I realize as we share these stories back and forth that the title of the podcast today is Today There Will Be Cake. And I don't know about you, but when I ended my day and I got the news that my pitch was not accepted, I've been trying to eat better, do the right things, whatever. I think we all go through different phases of that. But I was like, I'm off today. I'm now pretty frustrated and a little bit of a bad mood. I'm going to eat cake. I am definitely going to eat cake. And so I went to this fabulous little bakery in town that makes it's like the either chocolate or vanilla cake, but it's that real buttercream icing. And for me, if you're gonna eat something bad, like I don't want just the donut, I don't want just the whatever, like I want the whole way. And so this is the buttercream icing that gets crunchy
Oh, yes.
when it's set out overnight. It's like it
Mhm.
takes the experience to a whole nother level. The only thing that makes it better is we have just a little rabbit trail here. We have a mall here in town where I live. And I went with one of my good friends, and there's a little cupcake bar there.
Mhm.
And Charity, at the bar where you can eat, the seats are swings.
What?
And the only thing that I think could have made that cake better that day is if I got to eat it on a swing. But I'm just
Oh
gonna
my word.
it like took cupcake eating to a whole nother level. But let's go back to the cake. So my whole point in sharing that was I didn't eat cake every day after that, but I did eat cake that day, and I didn't feel bad about it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have this moment. I'm going to spend a little extra time with Jesus. I'm going to eat the cake. I'm going to enjoy the cake. And then I'm going to keep going tomorrow.
What's so funny is that we had cake on vacation. So, and you plan something and you so look forward to it.
Yeah.
And it happens. And it turned out well. You know what I mean? But then you're kind of like,
Nobody died.
yeah, it's like that was it. Like, huh? And Jake recently, within the last year, completed his doctorate of education.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to graduation because it was far away and no one was around. Like, we literally opened his diploma in the mail and it was great. It was happy. We like recorded it and everything. But I wanted to surprise him. So I'll tell you real fast. We were eating outside. We were having a barbecue on vacation. And everyone knew but Jake about what was going to happen. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to take these up. I'll be back in a minute. I'll bring down dessert. And his mom's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the room. And then my mom's like, okay, I'll be right back. And so we were like, like, okay, you guys stay down here. We'll see you in a minute. We'll be back. We'll bring down dessert. Well, everyone else ended up leaving as well. So one was like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Or I'm going to go get my phone. I'll be right back. And everyone leaves Jake by himself down at the picnic table. We're like, and then he's not even wondering. He's just like, well, everyone's doing something. They'll be back. I'll get dessert. Right. So then I call him. I'm like, hey, we changed our minds. Come upstairs to the room. We're going to have dessert up here. So everyone, of course, was in the room. And I had like thrown decorations out real fast and had a cake and cards and all this stuff. And we like closed the blinds and turned off the lights. And, I'm like guarding the door like someone's going to invade. And I open the door when I see him through the little peephole. And then we start singing For He's a Jolly Good Fellow, And he was so surprised and it was so happy and so wonderful. But girl, we had cake and it was delicious.
That was a great way to end what was a vinegar in your veins vacation.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't want vinegar cake, okay? Just, yeah, it was good. It was a good vacation. I just want to go on a vacation someday where I don't have to cook, clean, or do laundry.
Yeah. Well, and I think that and you and I talked about this, so nobody think I'm throwing charity under the bus. But vacation with extended family is not a vacation ever.
Mm.
So if you're expecting rest, don't. And we're not doing a podcast today about boundaries, but healthy boundaries are always key in keeping sanity, especially when we want to have time to ourselves. So, but I don't think it matters how much we plan or how often we plan, whether it's for a vacation or just a single day. Sometimes, as you said, using your famous quote, the best laid plans of mice and men turn awry, right? And
Yeah.
what do you do? Because sometimes you feel all alone when that's happening.
And Nancy, sometimes it feels so hard and you're trying so hard and everything
Right.
is just not going the way that you planned. And I don't know about you, but there's a song for every occasion. And I'm just like, hey, Jesus, take the wheel because I can't do this anymore, let alone on my own.
Right.
I'm totally letting go before I lose my mind. And yeah, so I know I have those moments.
Yeah, well, I love, you kind of pick on me because I've got a Bible principle for everything and you've got a song for everything. And I don't know about you, just again, I guess we're on a rabbit trail today, but I'll be listening to something or somebody talk and they'll say a word and it like triggers a song in my head. And so I think that's an appropriate song. It really is because if you listen to that song, it's a country song by Carrie Underwood, by the way. But really, the imagery of that song about Jesus taking the wheel, it's powerful.
Mhm.
And it's not just about him taking the wheel, though. I think for me, it's about remembering that we're not alone.
Right.
Whether we've tried hard to plan a vacation or we've tried hard to win a pitch or we have just tried hard to keep some kids in line all day
Mhm.
or tried our best in our marriage and it seems like we're on the struggle bus this week. or whatever, it can become a lonely place. And, I'm just going to be honest and say that sometimes it's even lonelier in the church
Mm.
because we get so good at eating our own.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's kind of a graphic statement, but that's really how I feel. Because we don't allow people to be vulnerable enough to share their struggle. Instead, we criticize. Whereas if we had vulnerability, we could allow the opportunity to love on them, correct them if needed, whatever. And that can open a whole, I mean, we could go on for that, but I will tell you something that encourages me in moments like this is I'm not alone. God's with me. He's
Yes.
not surprised. He knows from the end, from the beginning. And, Isaiah 41:10 says, fear not. I would even say, because it's definitely in line with scripture, don't be anxious, don't be fearful, don't be worried. You put any type of emotion there, I think this fits. It says, fear not, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed. I'm your God.
Mm-hmm.
I will strengthen you. I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I don't have to do it all on my own. I don't have to do it in my own strength, even though sometimes I really would like to try to. I don't have to do it by myself. But God's going to do it with me. He doesn't leave me. And then over in Deuteronomy, it actually says, it is the Lord that goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Again, he says, don't be fearful or
Mm-hmm.
dismayed. And again, I would add, not that I'm adding to the word, okay? Because we don't add or subtract from the word, but based on other scripture that's out there. Don't be fearful. Don't be anxious. Don't be worried. You know, don't doubt yourself. You're a child of God. He has a plan and a purpose for you, even though in this moment, it feels like a hot mess.
Yeah. That reminds me of Psalms 23:4.
Yeah.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, for you're with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You could so replace the valley of a shadow of death. Even though I walk through the really crowded Walmart, you know, uh, even though I walk through my tire just blew on me, I'm on the highway by myself,
Yeah.
or even though I walk through this whatever situation and I'm scared and I've never been here before, but I know I have to walk through it anyways.
Even though I'm walking through a marriage that's struggling and may fail, even though
All
I'm
those.
walking through children that are, running from Jesus, even though I'm sitting in traffic wishing I was anywhere else, even
Mm-hmm.
though my boss yelled at me today, I think you're right. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter what you're going through. God is very clear. I mean, these are just a handful of scriptures, over in um, Matthew 28:20, it says, and behold, I'm with you always till the end of the age.
Right.
He doesn't stop being with us. And by the way, he doesn't stop being with us when we make the wrong choice,
That's true, which is great.
right? When we snapped at our family, when we did the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, not advocating for misbehavior, but just understanding that God's grace is sufficient enough to take you wherever the next thing is.
Well, like back to Psalms 23:4, it says, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Um, it's a rod of correction. It's not, hey, let me yank you off to the side over here. It's like, no, let me whack you up the side of the head and get my sheep.
That's how he talks to me, by the way.
Yeah. But
Some
it's
people
true.
have that gentle God, they're like, well, I was in my private prayer time and I really felt like the Lord spoke to my heart. But they tend to be very gentle spirited people, very quiet natured that say those kind of things. I've got more of that bold and I don't know, bossy, like you said, personality. But God's a little bit like, hey, Nancy, did you hear what I said? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yes.
Is he up there going, Nancy, give me that wheel? Nancy, give me the wheel.
You're not in charge. You're not in charge. It's me. Remember, Almighty God over here. I got this.
Oh,
You're over there stressing, freaking out about this. I already know. And here's the other thing though is beyond being gracious and corrective. right? And just a reminder, God is a corrector, not a condemner,
Right.
right? So if you're feeling condemnation, that's not him. But he is loving and kind and will correct us into whatever direction we need to go. But he's already planning ahead.
Hmm.
You know, when I missed the pitch, I was like, you know, after I had my cake, because there was going to be cake. Um, I thought, you know what? I don't know what he kept me from. I don't know what he protected me from. I don't know if I was going to go into business with somebody who maybe was not who they said they were. I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe, and even though yours wasn't a misstep, God knew what your vacation was going to do.
Yeah.
So did he use some of those prickly moments to grow you or develop you, or
I
or
hope
grow and
so.
develop family who was watching you walk, out the love of Christ in many respects. You know what I'm saying? Um, but was it helping to grow them in a way that they could love the Lord at a greater level because of your example? We just don't know, which is why we've got to trust.
Yeah.
John 4:16 says, so we've come to know and believe that the love God has for us, which is exactly what we were talking about.
Hmm.
God is love, and whoever abides in his love abides in God, and God abides in him. And that word abide, that's where we've got to be. We've got to be in the sureness of who God is and what his character is, and understand that he has our best for us, and our best days are still coming. I don't care what it looks like right now, our best days are still coming.
Girl, my best vacation is out there.
Amen. We're going to go to Atlanta not too far from now. Maybe we should do a podcast from Atlanta.
That'd be fun.
It really would be. We'll switch it up. We'll talk about some of the history of Atlanta or something, because we're going to do some fun stuff there. So
Yeah.
well, you know what? Even when it doesn't turn out how we anticipated, we know the Lord's going through life right along with us. Even Jesus cried at the tomb of Lazarus, knowing that he would raise him from the dead. He knew the other side of the plan, and even he had a rough day. We can have our questions and our doubts. We can have our frustrated days. We can even eat the cake. But we just can't live there. So friends, pray over that cake and start again tomorrow.
Until next time, be sure to like, share, and follow us on social media.
And keep it real at the kitchen table.